I remember when I was a little kid, say 3 or 4 years old, in the country, and I remember sitting around the fireplace as we would do in the evening. My father was reading the paper, and he had gotten the paper because of this article that he was reading to us, and it was about the lynching of a cousin of ours, a 19-year-old boy. Jesse Lee had gotten into an argument with the woman at the general store, and there were white men in the store standing around as they jumped on him. He ran, and they caught him and tied him to the back of a truck and rode around in the town where, and obviously he died or he killed. That's my earliest memory. And from that beginning, I didn't think of it in terms of, being politically aware and so forth, but that was always, and is still with me, in the back of my head about, it's a prism through which I have seen things all my life. And just from that, I've just always been a politically conscious person. And then, with civil rights movement, of course, that would be something that I would naturally become involved with. The murder of Emmett Till, that was, of course, national, and everybody knew about it, and that was something that, just began to arouse people all over the country that, that, hey, this is we've had it, this is enough. And that was kind of the beginning of my thinking about what can we do? What can be done about this? And maybe a few years after that, with the integration of the Little Rock School, when on television I saw these kids, and for these little children to be brave enough to expose themselves to that kind of harassment and danger, really, to integrate Little Rock High School, I guess it was, made me think, hey, Florence, you got to do something. But at the time, I had, Greg was a baby, and maybe Greg was a little boy, and maybe I was pregnant with Brian. I just remember, it was a whole issue of children that I could not be an active participant in what I was reading about in the paper there, too, in Dayton. But as soon as the kids got large enough or old enough that I could become active with a group and so forth, I did. I joined it was Dayton Core, Congress of Racial Equality. And I couldn't wait to meet McIntosh, W.S. McIntosh. And he was the head of CORE. And that was the beginning of my civil rights activities in Dayton. When Jesse first announced, when it was rumored that he was going to announce, he had started to get death threats then. And because the Secret Service does not come on in terms of protection until that January of the year of the election, I think. And so Jesse was out there without any protection, but getting these death threats. And there was a particular group. They were picketing wherever Jesse was going to be. They would have a group of people out there chanting and so forth. And there was no protection for him. So Farrakhan had the Fruit of Islam. So they would like Secret Service. They would like Jesse's Secret Service until actual Secret Service started. And Marion Barry played a crucial part also in Jesse's announcement in terms of providing a place, which was the D.C., Marion was the mayor, and it was the D.C. Convention Center. He also was responsible for my being Jesse's the campaign press secretary. It was Marion who recommended to Jesse for this particular role. Oh, when Jesse first announced, when it was rumored that he was going to announce that his candidacy, and had been, a lot of preliminary talk and so forth, and he had started to get death threats then, and because the Secret Service does not come on in terms of protection until that January of the year of the election, I think. And so Jesse was out there without any protection, but getting these death threats. And there was a particular group. They were picketing wherever Jesse was going to be. They would have a group of people out there chanting and so forth. And there was no protection for him. So Farrakhan had the Fruit of Islam to show up to be, and they would, have black suits and bow ties and groups and so forth, and they would go. They would like Secret Service. They would like Jesse's Secret Service until actual Secret Service started, and so that arrangement was made of course by Farrakhan. And Marion Barry played a crucial part also in Jesse's announcement in terms of providing a place, which was the D.C. Marion was the mayor, and it was the D.C. Convention Center, and to get the people and to do whatever to make it possible for him to have an outstanding announcement ceremony and so forth. So Marion has done a lot of good things, and I always remember that. But he also was responsible for my being Jesse's the campaign press secretary, because it was Marion who recommended to Jesse for this particular role, because I had been Marion's press secretary and had a couple of years before, and so it was a historic opportunity for me, no matter where the campaign was going, just if the guy was running seriously to be president of the United States, so that was a big deal.